student.
Yes. How many of you are management consultants? Yes. How many of you are IT professionals? Yes. My objective of the project is on the assumption that all IT professionals or persons who do not have financial terms, who do not understand financial terms. Based on this assumption, I'm just proceeding. And it's very simple. The project says I need to demystify technical terms in a non-technical manner. Considering the cross-section of the audience, I have decided to take a very simple subject, and the subject that I have taken for this purpose is check. Of the very many means of payment for settling transactions, check is a very, very common method, and it has been in existence for a very, very long time. The evolution of the check has been when you open an account at the bank, initially your account will be monitored. You'll be allowed to withdraw money from the bank using a withdrawal slip, and after a period of 1 month, a checkbook will be given to you. And that checkbook was a non-MICR checkbook, and it varied. The same kind of account with a corporate account with a company, they will also be given a check, and that check varied in size. Then as time progressed, we had the concept of the MICR check being introduced, and non-MICR check went off the whole thing. And now another change has come where a CTS enabled check has come, and then non-MICR check have also gone off. But along with it, the MICR and the CTS enabled checks have certain things in common. My objective of this project is to just expose you to two technical terms. One is the MICR and other is the IFSC. To begin with, my session is going to be on introduction, the stages of evolution, the significance, and then there will be a question and answer session. The question and answer session will come at the end of the 10th minute. Next. Yes, coming to what is a check. A check is an instrument in writing. It is considered to be a bill of exchange, and it is addressed to the payee, making it clear what is the amount that the bank needs to pay. It is something in writing. When I say writing in writing, it is ink. When I say ink, it can also be printed, it can be written, it can be typed. It is something which is very, very specific. The word indicates pay, and there is also a word called bearer. We'll come to that a little later. And the amount which the person or the bank will have to pay to its customer will have to be mentioned both in words and figures, and then it will have to be signed. Next. Yes, it is a conditional order. It is an unconditional order. It is drawn by a customer on its back. Must be signed. Must be payable on demand. Must mention exact amount to be paid. Must be duly dated by the customer of the bank, and it has got 3 parts: drawer, bank, and payee. When I say it is a conditional order or an unconditional order, what does that mean? It has to be very, very specific. Exactly, you will have to say what is the amount that you need to pay. The words that come before the amount can be order, can be pay, or it can be paid to the bearer. And it is drawn by a customer on its bank. Wherever you maintain an account, you are given a checkbook, and then you will have to write the name of the beneficiary over there, and then the beneficiary will have to present it and then claim the amount from the bank. And must be signed. Any instrument will have to be signed. Must be payable on demand. You go to the counter, and if it's not crossed, you go to it, you will have to give cash. And it has got 3 parts. The drawer. Drawer is the person who writes the check. Bank is the institution which the client maintains with the bank, and the bank gives the money to the payee. The payee is actually the beneficiary. These are the types of check. An open check is a check where any person can take money. provided the word bearer is not stuck off. Pay to that person, and if the bearer is not stuck off, he can go to the bank and any person can take money, and it requires a kind of endorsement on the reverse of the check. On the reverse of the check nowadays it's a habit that the person will have to sign, mention his address sometimes, or provide his mobile number. A cross check is a check where it is paid only to the payee, it cannot be paid to any other person. And in that crossing there are three types. One is the general crossing, another is the ANCO crossing, and another is the account payee crossing. There are three types of crossings, and ANCO crossing is actually negotiable by endorsement. You sign it on the reverse, endorse it, and the other person can again represent it. That is the objective of an ANCO. An account payee is very, very specific. It has to be paid to that particular account of that particular person. A bearer check is very, very similar to the open check, except that there is order and bearer available to that. An order check is very, very specific. Pay to the order, it says. Please pay to the order. Next. Yes, checks can be dated. With regard to the dating of the checks, they are very, very significant. The antedated check is a check which is actually having a date prior to the current date. If the date for today is say 11th, and if it contains a date before that, then that is considered to be an antedated check. A stale check is a check which is dated 6 months prior to the current date. It is technically an invalid one. A mutilated check is a check which is actually tampered, which is not in proper condition, which is not fit enough to participate in the clearing house. That is considered to be a mutilated check. A damaged check is considered to be a mutilated check. A post-dated check is a check that carries a date in future from the current date. If the date is 11th today, and if it contains a 12th or any date beyond 12th, that is considered to be a post-dated check. Again, that is not technically valid as such. Now I come to the most important aspect of what is an MICR check. MICR is actually, you would have seen in all your checks, whenever you sign, below that there is a strip. This strip is called the magnetic ink character reader, and this contains three sets of information. One is the instrument number. The first thing that comes over here is the instrument number. What you see here is the instrument number. This is the MICR number, and this is another number which is having special significance, and there is another 2-digit number. We will just go through that one by one. In some of the checks, you will not find this particular number. What you will have is the MICR number, that is the instrument number. Next is another number which is of special significance. Another is the instrument code, the 2-digit number that you see that there is 19, here is 31, that refers to the instrument code. Next. Now, in all CTS enabled check, on the top or right to the below, there is something called the IFSC code. It is nothing but the Indian Financial Services Code. All banks are given this code, and it is actually 11-digit code. The 11 digits are actually 4 plus 1 plus 6. Four of them represents alpha characters. The next one is another 0 which is specified or specifically earmarked for Reserve Bank of India to be used in future, and the next is the branch code. That 4 here, this refers to the ICICI bank check. ICIC is actually the 4 digits that you see over there. Next is 0. Next is the 6 digit that you see over there, 00021, refers to the branch code of ICICI. And here the branch code is, the location of that is Gurgaon. The branch location is Gurgaon. That is the IFSC code of ICICI bank situated at Gurgaon location. The next is the MICR. This is actually a 9-digit number. This 9-digit number is actually split into 3 blocks of 3, 3 and 3. The first 3 digits represent the city code. 110 represents the city code. The city code is nothing but Delhi. Next is the bank code. The bank code here is 229, that is for ICICI Bank. And the next is the branch code 003 represents the branch code, and in this case it is Gurgaon. Now I come to the next slide. Yes. Now, the 2-digit code that I am referring to here is actually, it is 10 here. In this case, it is 10. It means that it is a savings bank account. When the number is, yes, 0 to 9 is actually for the clearing. When the digits that are represented here it represents 10. This means this is a savings bank account, and this is issued by post office. And all checks which carry the number 10 indicates that it is a savings bank account. When it indicates 11, it means it is a current account check. When it is 12, it represents a banker's check. So when I get another here, in this case it is 10. When I take another one, when it is 31, what does this mean? Come to the 31, it is a savings bank at par check. This number here is 31, that means it is a savings bank at par check. When I say 30, when it is indicated that is 30, it is an at par cash credit account check. That is the significance of this 2-digit number that you find in all the checkbooks. There are about say 50 that are being used. Some of them are very, very specific. How many of you have got the income tax refund? Was it credited to your account? In most of your cases, the amount would have been credited to your account, or some of you would have got a check. That check, when you examine that check, you will find it is 49. That refers to income tax refund order. You will find here, instead of 31 here, you will find 49. So everything has got a significance. Now I am open for questions.
What is the advantage of using transaction codes in check? What is that?
The transaction code is
actually the transaction is going to happen.
No. This is all checks that you present with the bank goes through a process of clearing. For that clearing purpose, we need the transaction code, and it is computer coded. After it is over there, when it participates the clearing in the computer, there will be another set of digits that will be printed over here. For that purpose, this code is very, very vital.
What is the difference between CTS and MIC here?
The CTS is something which has come into existence now. It is a check truncation system. Previously, all physical checks will go to the concerned bank. If you have an account in State Bank of India and if you have issued a check to me, I will present it to my banker, it will go to the clearing, and the physical check will reach your bank. Under the CTS system, under the check truncation system, the physical check does not move. An image of that check goes to the bank, and that is being reached. And for that, there is a small changes over there. All CTS enabled check will have a code that is overprinted here. Will have a box-like thing that will be printed over here, and there will be watermark of that particular bank. Take any check, it will have a watermark of that bank. This is a Bank of India check. You will find this box, and there are watermarks or symbols of Bank of India. You have the star over here, there will be watermark over it. Similarly, for all things, this is a South Indian bank check. Again, you will find there is a box which is very, very specific, and then the watermark of South Indian Bank will be there. That will be there in all CTS enabled check. Previously, you take 1-year-old check that may not be CTS enabled, you will not find these two things over there. It will be an MICR, all other things will be there.
So do savings bank account provide only one kind of transaction check?
No. If it is a savings bank check, it will have the number 10 over here. That's all.
So we are eligible to get only one transaction type check? Because
Yes.
it doesn't ask any option when you order a check. It doesn't ask any option what the kind of transaction you are going to make.
No, it is automatically given. They will not give you a current account check for this thing, for a savings bank account. So this is something which is of little significance to us, but is of vital importance when it goes through the clearing house process.
So with any questions you can take now, right?
Okay, with this, I come to the end of the session.